everybody, and welcome back to the Enterprise Dish. And we've had a lot of special episodes. I know I've said that before, but this is the specialist of special episodes because as you are listening to this, Ducks, we're jumping right into the special news because I think this crosses so many barriers that I love. Ducks' company, as you were listening to this, is in the midst of, well, I guess probably they are technically public by that point because this will go live in the afternoon. And so, Ducks, how does it feel to get that, I don't want to say burden off your back, but it's like milestone achieved?
Well, first of all, I'm grateful to a lot of people. I'm thankful for you, Brad, that we've known each other for so long.
Yep.
And, you've been part of this journey. So I'm excited. And depending on what time you drop this video, if it's past 9 o'clock on Friday, then yes, we're already trading publicly, AVPT. It's just a wonderful, wonderful time and really grateful for this opportunity.
And for those who are listening to this quickly, as everybody should, TJ, the CEO of AvePoint, is going to be closing NASDAQ on Friday afternoon. So if you want to see that celebration, make sure to tune into like CNBC or any of those companies or streams, I should say, that broadcast.
And I'll definitely tweet the live stream link as well. NASDAQ will share that, I think, a couple hours before. So I'll drop it on Twitter. If you're excited to share as well, feel free to share it too. But just check my Twitter feed and you'll see that live webcast.
And if people are listening to this and don't understand why, like, I'm excited just from even like an outside perspective. First thing everybody should do is go to petri.com and read the post that I've written up about this, because I got to talk to TJ and I was like, one of the first things I asked him was like, TJ, have you just stepped back? Because there's a very small group of people who have been with a company, basically birthed it into an inception and taken it public. That is, like, in the business world, that is what you study as an undergraduate. And then in graduate school, they effectively teach you the mechanics of how that all works out. And it's crazy process. And like very few people get to do it.
And I echo your sentiment, Brad. Like TJ and Kai, who started this 20 years ago, they started in the public library.
Yeah.
They built the first backup technology for SharePoint and then migration technology. This is their side hustle pretty much. And then now their side hustle 20 years ago, they're standing in front of NASDAQ, closing the bell or ringing the bell for closing bell. And AvePoint's now public. It's just phenomenal. You hear about stories out in the valley, but here we are.
Yeah, it's a very rare thing to do. And I was just like, TJ, if you just like step back and just thought about like this process and how crazy it is. And it was really cool to hear his story and just how he's approaching it. But Dux, just because you're going public doesn't mean there aren't other things happening that we must dive into. The first one up, well, technically last week, Microsoft unveiled Windows 11, but this week they shipped the first build. But we're also, and this gives me a lot of hope that we're going to see a lot of UI cohesion across Microsoft now. Office is getting a refresh too. This was a surprise to me, at least.
I mean, I've been watching at least the trend, especially in the past year, where they're introducing a lot of these new innovations, new technologies, especially on the UI UX with the Fluent Design. I don't know if that's the official terminology for it, but the Fluent Design language that's cutting across the entire offering that Microsoft has. Their cloud platform, productivity platform. Certainly there's a lot of products, through the years. They've acquired companies, but then I think this is a great time because now we'll see a lot of cohesion, as you described. And then, frankly, from an experience standpoint, it'll just make it better and more competitive to a lot of other technologies out there that people are more used to, especially in the consumer space.
Perfect segue, my friend. Perfect segue. So one of the other things that Microsoft announced here, and we've talked a lot about Teams, but technically speaking now, there's kind of two sides to the coin of Teams. We've talked a little bit about the consumer side, but one of the biggest changes coming to Windows 11 is that Teams is just going to be included out of the box. And more importantly, it's actually a completely overhauled Teams. From, if you wince at the word Electron, Microsoft is getting rid of Electron, and I believe they're going to Angular. I believe I might be wrong on that JavaScript framework, but they are saying that it is like using half as many resources, and so that's two major milestones for Teams. One, it's being built into Windows now, and it's going to run a heck of a lot faster. You got any thoughts on this one, Dux?
I mean, First, I'm really excited about that because, especially for those not familiar with what Brad described as Electron, look, you got to have a super ultra powerful
Yep.
computer with massive RAM to run the Teams client. So the fact that they say they're going to do that, and I saw that Twitter thread with a CVP or a VP
Yep.
between you and talking about this. So that's exciting. The only question I have though is where's Skype then?
It's a
Because Skype has been built into Windows. So are we?
great
I
question.
sent a tweet and then Jeff Teeper said we love Skype. It's still going to be there. Now the question is, okay, what's the positioning between these two?
So there is the official company line that they are walking that says Skype is still there and we love it. But let's be honest here, Ducks, for a second. Skype for Business is going away. We know that. Microsoft has already signaled that. They've planted the migration flag in planet Earth and everybody's moving. Now, in Windows 11, Skype is no longer bundled. And they're playing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not even it's not in Windows. You can download it. Like Skype is I kind of somewhat suspect that Skype will just live on as like it's a thing you download and it runs and it's fine and Microsoft's not going to kill the backend services, but it's not even installed out of the box anymore. There's a little right now in Windows there's a Meet Now button that uses Skype. They're effectively replacing that with the Teams infrastructure.
got it.
So,
Because even with Outlook.com, right? If you have
yep.
the consumer Outlook, the free one, if you schedule a meeting, because I use it for my personal
Yep.
stuff, it uses Skype. So I suppose that would change as well, the Teams for free or Teams personal.
I would be shocked if it doesn't, because there's an awkward scenario there, which you perfectly just highlighted. Let's say you actually, this machine is running a Windows 11. Let's say I open this up and I go to Outlook and I schedule something and it's in Skype, but then when I click on my taskbar, it's in Teams. And I think it's just a matter of time that Microsoft is really pushing this. And it's only going to, the other interesting thing too here, Ducks, by the way, at which Windows 11 Home requires an internet connection and an MSA. Which you can see where this is going. Now, when you boot into Windows, you are automatically a monthly Teams consumer user on
That's
that
right.
first boot. So,
So does that count now for the daily active usage then?
well, knowing Microsoft, I guarantee you it will, because at one point they told us there were something like 300 million Cortana daily users or monthly users, but we all know that that was really when you search on Windows, they were counting those queries as Cortana usage, and it wasn't. But yeah, those people I can guarantee are going
So
to
out
be.
of curiosity, Brad, I'm sure you know this number on top of your head. How many potential Windows 11 users there's going to be?
So that's it's a really hard question to answer right now, Ducks. So what we can do is we know Microsoft has told us that there's 1.3 billion Windows 10 active devices.
Wow.
So that is the whole universe as of right now. But there's a major caveat, if I could put a little asterisk up here next to me, because Microsoft has come out, and this has been what's been like my whole ecosystem or world for the past week, is Microsoft is being incredibly unclear about what the minimum specifications are to run Windows 11. They've moved the goalpost, like we'll call it 2.5 times since they've announced it. And so when you say the total population who can run Windows 11, we don't quite know yet until Microsoft officially comes out and says, hey, this is the actual line in the sand where people can upgrade or cannot upgrade. And the problem is Microsoft has non-transparently not told us what is going on there and why some chips cannot. For a perfect example, the Surface Studio 2, which you can go buy for $3,500 today from Microsoft in their store, you can go buy it right now, will not support Windows 11 based on their initial publication of specs.
Wow.
Right. That's why it's like, well, I can't just ballpark it and say about 1 billion of those 1.3 will be able to run it, because like they really kind of compressed things, and now they're kind of slowly walking back, and we don't know how far back they're officially going to walk. So there you go. That's why that's a dollar answer for a nickel question about trying to speculate about how many people. But there are other things happening too. This was announced. Were you at the event in? I think it was Orlando. It was a Microsoft 365 collaboration event where I think it was Dan
Holm announced Visio.
Yes, Visio is now, I should say baseline Visio is now included in Microsoft 365, which candidly, I think it's past due. Like this should have been in there for a long time, but now that is now included.
And I thought I saw something, and maybe you were telling me about this. What's the catch? Is it just the base version, or is there
It's
anything
just the
else?
base version. So the
Got it.
base version, here's the way I digging into it. Like anybody who's a serious user of Visio and uses it more than just to open the one flow that Dux has sent me is still going to need a license. Yes, technically that person can open and edit and make minor changes, but anybody who's doing like serious Visio work, like process mapping, they're going to still need
Swim
the
lane
same.
diagrams, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
If you want to be using heavy templates and all that stuff, you're still going to be paying the license. So it's one of those like it's a nice little freebie, but it's not the whole kit and caboodle at the end of the day.
I guess kind of like the PDF reader, right?
Yeah, I mean that is Microsoft and Adobe have such a tight relationship. I have to wonder that if that plays into it, like Adobe's like, PDF editing is like one of our best selling products to the end line consumer. Please don't ruin that. So that would not surprise me in the slightest. So Dux, other things going on in the world of AvePoint. You guys are going public, right? You guys are working heavy with Teams right now. What else is floating around in the AvePoint? Actually, you are in the AvePoint office, which is honestly such a refreshing change to see that the world is going back.
Well, our next big thing is coming up in 2 weeks. Sure, today we're officially a publicly traded company, but we're launching our next generation partner program.
Ooh.
And what this means is better incentives. Partners in the ecosystem can make more money, especially in the area of collaboration security, since we offer the end-to-end solution around that, be it customers needing to go to the cloud while they're in the cloud, protect their data against ransomware, or more importantly, if they want to govern the use of technologies like Teams and Microsoft 365. We have the full solutions for it, and it's yet another business offering that a lot of partners out there, such as MSPs, can provide the customers their support. So we're launching this in 2 weeks, and check this out, avepoint.com/partners to learn more.
That's a great place. We will actually drop that link down in below. And Dux, I want to just thank you for, I know your timeline right now is just compressed and exciting, and I'm definitely going to be watching from afar, but wish you guys all the best of luck doing all the fun stuff, closing it down and celebrating this weekend and just doing what AvePoint does. And to everybody else, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch all of you right back here next time.
Thank you.